Hello everyone, this is the Atheist Ranger, and welcome to my channel. Sorry if I sound a little congested, mostly I'm coming down with a cold, but I figured I'd make this video before, someone else made a video about it. Anywho, as the title suggests, I'm going to be making a video response to True Empiricism on his, so bad intake on homosexuality. It's just so bad. I mean, I thought G-Man's intake was bad, but Jesus. Metaphorically, not literally. Well, let's see what he has to say.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm making this video because yesterday I was in a discussion with G-Man, Veckel, Teal, and a couple of other people, and we were talking about homosexuality. And as I've been talking to people about homosexuality over the years in discussion, I tend to notice a pattern that if they're coming from an atheistic position or standpoint, it's very difficult for them to justify homosexuality as being morally acceptable.
No, not really. Again, they're not hurting anyone. They're consenting adults, so kind of common sense, really. So again, what world do you live in? Do you think that we have a difficult time with that? Anyway.
From their secular or atheistic position. So as you watch this video, guys, I know that this topic does tend to strike a nerve with some people, but just try to approach this video objectively so that you can consider what I have to say from a standpoint that is independent from your personal feelings or views.
Unfortunately, that kind of morality doesn't exist. So again, stop pretending that you think that you bring more to the table when this discussion of morality comes up. Okay, objective morality does not exist. If you're going to sit there and say that it does, you need to provide evidence. And you coming to someone like me saying, well, the Bible says it does, that's not evidence, sir.
So, one thing that's typically brought up is that homosexuality is okay. It's morally acceptable because of the fact that homosexuality is something that occurs in nature. Now, some Christians actually use, well, it's unnatural, it's not acceptable. This is an incorrect statement to make. And if they are to word it like that, that would be incorrect because there are certain actions inside of nature that do occur, but usually it has to do with dominance or some sort of behavioral traits. But nonetheless, it's something that does occur inside of nature. But for the atheist or the secular-minded person who says, well, it's acceptable because it naturally occurs, the problem is with this is that just because something naturally occurs does not mean that it's therefore necessarily okay, because when you say that, you commit the fallacy known as the naturalistic fallacy. For example...
Okay. Pardon me, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I'm coming down with something. Yeah, Ronnie, I do agree with the naturalistic fallacy. However, there's one problem that you're not addressing. No atheist is saying that. Okay? We're not saying that it's moral because it's natural. That is just a response to the Christian claim. Well, I shouldn't say the Christian claim. The theist claim that it's not natural. And it's been proven scientifically that it is. Okay? I know that you and G-Man and Veckel want to believe that we human beings are special, that we're outside of the animal kingdom. We're not. We're animals. We're great apes. Get used to it and get the fuck over it.
There are things that are also occurring in nature, like hyenas stealing the babies of other hyenas and eating them or killing them. Sharks in the womb of their mother will kill their brother or sister shark that is not as developed or not as strong to defend itself. So there are things inside of nature that naturally occur that are also horrible. Simply saying that,
well, yeah, we don't. Again, we're not saying this. So you bring this up as just a straw man and a red herring at best.
Naturally occurs, it's okay or acceptable. Doesn't really make a case for them. Also, when talking about homosexuality, people will say, well, it's okay and it's acceptable because it is between two consenting adults. Well, okay. Problem is when you say that, you also open the door for incest, because with incest, if you had a father and a daughter, or a mother and a son that were fully uh, grown and they were mature adults and they wanted to have sex according to your own reasoning, this would be okay and would be acceptable. Last night when this was brought up, the individual that I was speaking to mentioned, well, um, that's not okay because then you have an issue of dominance. The mother figure or father figure is a dominant person in that individual's life, which I don't really see what points he was making on the case.
Okay, Ronnie, unfortunately for you, I saw that hangout, and I know exactly the point that man was trying to make. Pardon me for not remembering the dude's name, but the point he's trying to make is that I don't know about my audience or the 4 people that are watching this, but most of us are raised not to say no to our parents. So what that man was arguing is pretty much that. Damn it, I lost my train of thought here. Oh yeah, what the man was arguing was that in a scenario where it's a mother and a son, or a father and a daughter, one would argue, in fact, I myself would argue, that there is no attraction there, that the offspring is clearly being emotionally manipulated into feeling something that she truly doesn't feel. So that's what the point he was bringing up, that clearly went the fuck over your head.
Of incest, because of the fact that it doesn't go away. I mean, you can have a brother or a sister or a cousins or something like that, and you still have that problem by removing the issue of what he perceives to be dominant or a role of authority. The problem of incest doesn't go away with the claim of two consenting adults wanting to have sex. It's still there. Likewise, with the same problem, last night the individual that I was speaking to mentioned, well, there's nothing wrong with it if you're not doing harm to anybody. Well, you continue to go down this rabbit hole of more and more problems because incest is actually known to cause problems and birth defects. Maybe it's
Yes, that's exactly true, and that's exactly why most people would not find it morally acceptable. Okay, because most people, not all, but most people who get married have intention of having kids. Okay, that's why most people would find it morally acceptable. Now, me personally, I don't give 2 flying fucks if you want to fuck your sister or your brother. Okay, as long as you're not obviously having kids, because that would be a fucking disaster. Okay, I mean, this idea that I view incest as disgusting. I don't view it as neither moral nor immoral. Okay, because quite frankly, it's not something I even think about.
some cases not right away, but it can cause birth defects or genetic defects that can surface after several generations. So,
Okay, wait. All that is true, and let me be clear to to people watching right now. I don't know if Ronnie here believes in a literal interpretation of Adam and Eve. That being said, he does surround himself with people who do. Okay, and why is it? Why I find it rather odd that you're not saying this to them, because for people in your circles, Ronnie, who do believe in a literal interpretation of Adam and Eve, they believe at the end of the day that we're all the descendants of incestual relationship after incestual relationship. So I just find it rather odd you're not saying this to them. And secondly, a brother fucking his sister, just to be blunt, while that is disgusting, how exactly does that affect your life or mine? If you don't have an answer, because it doesn't. Again, it's disgusting. We all find that disgusting. But at the end of the day, it doesn't involve me. It doesn't involve you.
the problem of harm is something that is not going to solve the problem of whether or not something is, something like this is morally acceptable. So this is what I mean. I mean, it doesn't really matter how far you take this. there's always going to be a problem with trying to justify homosexuality. If you're going to be consistent with your own standard of why it's acceptable, you open up the door for a lot of other things that you would also believe wouldn't be acceptable if you were to be consistent. We might do a video, a hangout on this.
No. Pardon me. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. No, Ronnie, I know what Ronnie's trying to get at. He's pretty much saying that if you condone homosexuality, you pretty much don't have a leg to stand on to say that you can't condone incest. And yes, I can. Because, again, most people who freaking want to get married obviously want to have children. Guess what? Brothers and sisters can't have fucking children. So that's why it's not morally acceptable. I'm sorry. Again, I'm very sick, everyone. Kind of out of my way tonight. Anyway, that's Ronnie's intake on homosexuality. Again, I do not need to condone incest in order to say that homosexuality is acceptable, because again, that's between two consenting adults. And in the case of incest, at some point, that person, that woman, whether it be a mother or a daughter, is going to get pregnant, and that would be a fucking disaster. Anyway, that's my intake. Anyway, this has been the Atheist Ranger. As always, if you like what you saw, like, comment, subscribe. The link to my Patreon is down below. Y'all have a good night. Bye.